Tell me, baby, what we gon' do? Yo. Tell me, girl, what you wanna do? Yo. Cause I ain't waiting on you. I ain't waiting on you. Cause I ain't really got no time. I ain't really got no time to waste on you. To waste on you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mets Life Show. I'm your host, Rashid McDonald, and I am thankful that everyone is here. This is a first of its kind. I haven't done a lot of live streams when it comes to the content that I've been putting out here, but I hope you all are with me to go on this ride because there's some news on Pete Alonso, and I hope that you guys are ready for this kind of news because I am. So before we get to what's going on with Pete Alonso, I just want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in to the James Shiano episode of the Mets Life Show. It was an honor and a pleasure to have been with him at the moment, talking baseball, talking Mets. Again, like I said, he's a cool dude, great guy, and all those people at Foul Territory and the Mets Dub podcast are good people. So if you guys haven't gotten a chance to check out their stuff, do so now because they are good people. So go check them out. Now we're going to get to the Pete Alonso spicy news. So, as of a couple hours ago, it was reported by former Mets GM Jim Duquette that the Pete Alonso camp, Scott Boras and company, have given the Mets a deal, an offer, which it's you don't usually see that where it's put out there where an agent or a player has given a team an offer. It's usually the other way around. So this is unique because it says a few things. It says that there are no other substantial offers from other teams. Now, I could be wrong, but that's just kind of like the conversation and the way things are, in the atmosphere right now at the moment, is that there are no other substantial offers for Pete Alonso. So whatever comes of that will come of that with Pete. So that is to be seen and determined with one Pete Alonso. But what we do know is that it was a 3-year deal. So let's get to what this offer is. It is pretty much what is said here, right? According to league sources, Pete Alonso's camp have offered the Mets a 3-year deal with opt-outs. This deal is only available to the Mets right now, and no deal known to be close at the moment, which was also confirmed by Andy Martino. We'll go to that tweet in a second. And Alonso's agent, Scott Boras, declined to comment, which, of course, right? And this comes after a lot of noise talking about Pete Alonso looking for an offer somewhere in the realm of what Prince Fielder got in 2012. Now, for those of you who don't know, in 2012, Prince Fielder got a deal with the Detroit Tigers of 9 years, $214 million, of which he only played 2 seasons with Detroit. And then when you think about it, the amount of time that he lasted in Texas after he got traded to Texas, so he signs the deal with Detroit, plays 2 seasons, gets traded to Texas for Ian Kinsler, and then he only plays 1 healthy season in Texas, I'm assuming. And that's sandwiched in between 2 seasons where he wasn't healthy. So overall, in that amount of time, now the 2 seasons that he did play in Detroit, he was phenomenal. Both years he was an all-star. He did great stuff there in Detroit, which was, I don't know what happened at the end as to why he got traded. I'm assuming things didn't go well with the team and player. And then he gets traded to Texas. And then he gets hurt the first season. Second season, becomes an all-star, hits above 300 that year. Great season for him in Texas in year 2. And then in year 3, devastating career-ending injury to the neck. So, all that being said, Pete Alonso's camp comes back and they say, well, that is not true. There's no way that we would offer a deal that was done years ago, 10 years ago, and thinking that that would be something that we will look to now. So there's a lot of back and forth. And if you guys listen to the episode with James Shiano, it was just pretty much the same thing that he said, right? Is that there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of he says, she says, a lot of them, us, which I never thought will come down to the Pete Alonso thing, right? And much like what James said, this could get ugly. And when I was thinking about how ugly it could get, my thought process was Michael Conforto. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Michael Conforto, right, became a free agent after declining a $100 million deal from the Mets. I think it was like a five-year deal. And he declined that, took a bet on himself, got hurt, played an injury-riddled season with the Mets in his final season, didn't put up good numbers, didn't have a good season, was hurt, comes back, signs a 1-year deal with the Giants, plays with them for a year. Now he signs a 1-year deal with the Dodgers. Now he's going to play with them for a season, which is a pretty good deal for them. They, replace David Peralta with Michael Conforto. But, so that's how I'm like, this could get ugly. This could get to the Michael Conforto territory of ugliness with the Mets and Pete Alonso, which, to be honest, I don't want that. Because what's on the line for Pete Alonso is a certain level of history that a rare few have achieved, right? When you think of all-time Mets greats, of course you're going to think of a few people that had some phenomenal success with the Mets, right? Doc Gooden comes to mind, Keith Hernandez comes to mind, Gary Carter comes to mind, Mike Piazza comes to mind. A lot of people that I mentioned there have gotten their numbers retired for the Mets, right? Piazza, Keith Hernandez, both Doc and Darryl got their numbers retired. But to me, when I think of all-time Mets, I think of Tom Seaver, number 41, Mr. Met, Tom Terrific, and the guy who's going to get his number retired this season, finally, well overdue, David Wright. Those who I think, because for David, though the end of his career, he was injured a lot, it was, even though he was injured a lot, he holds a lot of records, right? Number one, a lot of offensive categories, and he played his entire career for the Mets. He was a captain with the Mets. He is, for all intents and purposes, a Met, right? Our version of Derek Jeter, per se, quote unquote. But that's exactly who David Wright was for us. And that's why he gets put up there with Tom Seaver, because, now I don't think he's going to get his number, his jersey, a statue. He's going to get his number and jersey retired. He's going to be in the Mets Hall of Fame. I don't know if there's going to be any statues built for him. But Pete Alonso has that there for him on the table, with all those records, with all those things there for him for the taking, right? And that goes unsaid. So I don't know if they're going to negotiations with Pete saying, hey, this is what's there for you. There's history. Chase that. Like for us as fans, and for all fans alike, and people that cover the team and follow the team, that's on our minds. We know, like, hey, there's history there, and I'm pretty sure Pete knows, and I'm sure the Mets know. So for all we know, that goes unsaid, but you cannot ignore it, right? The history of being an all-time Met, getting your number retired, getting in the Mets Hall of Fame, that's there on the line for Pete, right? And again, this goes after him declining a 7-year contract from the Mets. And now if he would have took that deal, right, he would probably have like somewhere around 4 or 5 years left on that contract. That's what he passed on. And now the offer comes in, 3-year deal with opt-outs, sort of like the Cody Bellinger type of deal. And if I'm the Mets, I'm taking it, right? Alonso's camp said here, publicly, we want to be with the Mets. We want this deal. Now, if the Mets turn it down, then it's on them, right? They don't want Pete Alonso and whatever, right? So let's hope it doesn't get even more uglier in the face of, Pete Alonso doesn't want to be a Met and whatever the case may be. So hopefully that's not the case, and that's not what is happening here with Pete Alonso and the New York Mets, because I know for a fact that he wants to be here. He said it publicly, and the Mets have said it publicly that they want him here. So I'm just hoping, for the sake of both of those parties involved, that it doesn't get to that point. It doesn't get to that level of, they want a Prince Fielder type of deal, and no, we gave them, this is what we want. This is a 3-year deal. So I'm just hoping it doesn't get there. I'm hoping it doesn't get there, because, what we want is for the Mets and Pete Alonso to be in the best of positions. It makes the team better if he's there, if he's playing first base for the New York Mets. It makes them better. So, and at the end, when you think about it, there are other ways to go, but realistically, when you think about it, reports came out about Luis Arias, and to be honest with you, I don't want that, right? Listen, that's another Jeff McNeil type, right? And Jeff McNeil probably has more pop than Luis Arias. And so why do I want 2 Jeff McNeils on the team? To be honest with you, I don't think the Mets can afford Jeff McNeil to have another first half like he's had the last couple of seasons. Jeff McNeil needs to come out guns blazing. I don't think he should be owed a spot to start just because he's been here long enough. No. I feel like if he doesn't hit, next man up, please. So right now, Jeff McNeil is on thin ice. So, and hey, I might be wrong. The team might see it differently. But for me, I just feel like this is the Mets when they signed Juan Soto. We're going for it. So I'm not trying to see Jeff McNeil stumbling, striking out, looking crazy at the plate to start the season. So that's just a whole nother separate conversation that, so why get Luis Arias? I mean, why not try Jeff McNeil at first, which they're not going to do. Obviously, they're not going to do. They will go with Vientos at first. But that's my point. So the Luis Arias thing is out of just forget about that. Put that to the side. Don't want no parts of it. Don't care for it. Other things that were being talked about was the Will Salmon report that the Mets has spoken to reliever Tanner Scott, and that they're looking at the high end of the reliever market. So we're talking about the Tanner Scotts, the Carlos Estevez, the Jeff Hoffmans, the AJ Minters, the Kirby Yates. Those type of guys are what is being talked about right now. And that's according to that report, and it's been reported by others as well. Even though some other reports said that they won't. When I spoke to James Shiano, he said he doesn't think that the Mets are going to go to that high end because Edwin Diaz is getting paid a lot, and he thinks that Tanner Scott's going to get around the same kind of money that Edwin Diaz is getting. I don't think he should get that kind of money because I don't think he's going to sign to be specifically a closer. Though he could sign with a team and they can make him a closer, but I think if he comes to the Mets, he's not going to sign to be a closer. He's going to sign to be a high-end reliever that's going to come in and he'll close from time to time when Edwin Diaz has gone, twice in a series or whatever. But the reports are that he's looking at somewhere between 14. This was by Ken Rosenthal. He did it on his show Fair Territory. Shout out to the Foul Territory family. Beautiful people over there. So he was saying that he's looking somewhere between 14 to 17, maybe 18. And that's pretty consistent with what James said as well. So that's what we might be looking at right now. We're looking at a Tanner Scott that's going to be getting that kind of deal. So we don't know how that might go. So right now, that's what's in the air. Pete Alonso and the Mets are going through this back and forth right now, and we're hoping, as we're refreshing and we're taking a look at what's going on, it doesn't seem like a deal is imminent, because that's exactly what was reported as well by Andy Martino. As you can see, for what it's worth, Pete Alonso and the Mets are not close to an agreement at this time. Financial details of discussions reported by Jim Duquette are not known, so they don't know where things are going. But a lot of people are chiming in, and they think that this is the deal that should be done. This is the deal that should be done. And will it happen? We'll see. We'll see, man. John Morosi went on MLB Network, and he said he would be surprised if Pete Alonso ultimately doesn't sign with the New York Mets. So, I mean, this seems to be coming down to the Mets and Pete Alonso coming to an agreement. Because why not? I mean, if you're Pete Alonso, why not? I mean, what else is there to consider if not, wanting Pete Alonso to be a Met? Wanting to be a Met for the foreseeable future. This is what needs to happen. So why not make it happen? At the end of the day. So these are the deals that are going on right now. As far as the Mets team is concerned, this is not a final product. This is not a final, hey, this is what we got going on. So there's a lot more that the Mets are looking to do. There's still a lot of holes in this team, and I think they're trying to get the Pete Alonso thing sorted out so they could continue on to what they have next. Because at the end of the day, why not? All right, just get this done and let's move on. Because why we gotta beat around the bush and not listen? Let's run it back, right? Because again, when you look at it, the Mets are they've replaced. Right now, as it stands, they've replaced Pete Alonso with Juan Soto. If you bring in Pete Alonso, now the team is getting better offensively, right? Vientos will stay in his position. The infield is all right, but we got to see, because I still think there should be a competition for second base. I don't think anybody should be given second base outright when it comes to the New York Mets. I'm sorry. Again, love me some Jeff McNeil, right? Huge fan of Jeff McNeil. Love him with all my heart. But the Mets cannot afford another slow start. The slow starts got to stop, because at the end of the day, that is holding the team back. So I feel like they need to compete. At the end of the day, if you're coming off the bench, gotta take that in the chin, champ, because one, we got future. We not gonna hold guys down in the minor leagues because we waiting on you to show up. We cannot do that. We cannot have another Mark Vientos situation where we're waiting a month into the season to call him up. I don't want that. I don't want to see them making decisions, having to make decisions in May because we're 11 games back in the division. And if we're 11 games back in the division going into May, problems. Hot seat right away. And we don't need that. We don't need that. What we need is guys to come out firing on all cylinders. And I understand again, the Mets started 0-5 and then 0-G. But you're not doing that every year. We're not doing that every year. When you go get Juan Soto, you're listen, we the top dog. We trying to get at the Braves. We trying to get at the Phillies. We trying to be top dog. And that's what you got to do. So I don't need it. Don't want the drama. But again, if Jeff McNeil is hot in spring training and he gets the start, then he earned it. But I want to feel like he earned it. I don't want to feel like we're just giving it to him because he's been here the longest. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with me when I say that. It's not about who's been here the longest. It's about who's ready to run with the opportunity that's given. Because right now, that's what we got to do. We got to seize opportunities here. You know what I'm saying? That's what Jose Iglesias did. That's what a number of people did last season, and that's why the Mets were successful. As far as the bullpen is concerned, there are a lot of arms out there. Maybe I would love to see the Mets talk to Jose Leclerc. I would love to see the Mets talk to a couple of other people that are available in the market. There's a lot of people available, right? Caleb Ferguson is another one. There's a lot of people that you could talk to. I do think that they would need a left-handed option. And if we're talking about left-handed options, I don't know if they already have any of those, but AJ Minter, got to think about that. Caleb Ferguson, got to have a conversation, maybe run it back with Brooks Raley and talk to him. Those are things that have to happen. So we're going to see where that falls. But I will say this. Pete Alonso and the Mets gotta get this done. At the end of the day, they gotta get this done. If they don't get this done, we got problems, and I don't want that. So they gotta get this done for the sake of conversation. Let's move on. Let's build this team because the Mets got a lot they need to build. You understand what I'm trying to say? If anybody agrees with me, y'all let me know. I just want to let everybody else know as well. If you're tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Let's build this community. Let's make it stronger. Let's make it to where it needs to be. If you're watching on X, thank you. I appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. A couple of announcements. Good Morning Mets will be making a return this season. So you already know. Grab your cup of coffee. Come, we're going to be recapping the series. We're going to be talking about everything that's happening in the series. We're going to be, there's going to be highlights. So if you love that, old school feel of, baseball tonight with SportsCenter, where they'll come on, they'll talk, and they'll give you highlights, and they'll talk about who's hot, who's not, and all those kind of things. That's what we're bringing to you. Good Morning Mets, all Mets. And we're going to be, recapping things, giving you the highlights, talking about the next matchup. And we're also going to be talking to some other, content creators, reporters, people in the industry that are prominent in the industry. And we're going to be bringing them on the show. They're going to be talking to us about their teams. So I'm going to try to get as many people in from as many teams as possible. So we're going to try to get some Yankee people in here. We're going to try to get, whoever they face, whenever they face them. If there's somebody out there that wants to come on, talk about the team, We're going to try to bring them in for you. We're also going to try to bring in some people that are prominent in the Mets world. So look out for that, right? There's going to be a lot that's going to come your way. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to look nice. So tune in every morning. There's a phone number to call in that we will bring to you guys soon. So look out for that. So we'll be doing voicemails. We're going to be doing updates. We're going to be doing highlights. Everything is going to be covered on Good Morning Mets, and we're bringing that for you for the 2025 season. Also, what we're going to be bringing for everyone is the live streams. During the postseason, got on YouTube, did a couple live streams, and those were popping. Those went off. It was so much fun doing those live streams because you guys were able to see, real authenticity, real raw reaction to the game that was happening. So we're going to bring that back this year. When the Mets are on the road, we're going to be doing some live streams, and we're going to have some interviews. We're going to bring in, again, all those all those people that are in the industry. We're going to bring them in. We're going to have conversations with them, so look out for that. You get what I mean? Look out for that. We're going to have that schedule up at some point, and we'll get that out to you guys. So look out on X. We're going to have that graphic for you guys. Speaking of graphics, we're going to be on X, on social media. We're going to be live on X. We're going to be on TikTok, and we're going to be bringing you guys clips. We're going to be bringing you guys updates up to the minute with live tweets. So everything that you can expect from your favorite Mets creators, we're trying to build that here in this community. But what I'm going to bring to you guys is on a whole nother level. So this is what we talking about here. We're not talking about nothing else but the simple fact that I want to bring you guys the absolute best content when it comes to the Mets, because in my opinion, the Mets have the best social media fans, and the best social media and the best content you can find out there. That's why everybody talks about the Mets, whether it's LOL Mets or whatever the heck they want to talk about. The Mets are always in the conversation because we are the best fans when it comes to social media, and I want you guys to join me on that journey because we about to go off. And that's facts, no cap. So, again, if anything pops off with Pete Alonso, we'll get into the details of that. I'll drop a video. We're going to try the live every now and then, trying to get used to it. But again, I want to thank everybody who stopped by for this update, Pete Alonso update up to the minute. Right now, what we know is that Pete Alonso's camp has offered a deal. So we'll see what that leads to. But I feel like this is going to come to an end here with Pete Alonso, whether he's choosing the Mets or choosing another team. This is going to come to an end soon. I just have that feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. This might drag out till February. Who knows? But we're at this point where, deals are being talked about. Who wants what kind of money? This is coming soon. So stay tuned for that. We'll pop up whenever you guys are ready for that. Again, thank you guys for joining me on this stream. We're going to try to do more of this for you guys as things happen, so stay tuned for it. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, when it comes to the Mets, it's always, always, always for life. This is the Mets Live Show, live, and I am Rashid McDonald. For life. This is the Mets Live Show, live, and I am Rashid McDonald.